Hello everyone, thank you for joining us for our webinar today about CYPE Architecture, everything you need to know to start working in BIM today. My name is Ahmed Balfaqih, I'm from International Department. Our guest today is one of our expert, engineering Afanzo. Hello Afanzo.
Hi, Ahmed. How's it going?
Everything is okay. Thank you for joining us. It's a pleasure having you here.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So the agenda for today's webinar, it will be introduction about how you can use the CYPE architecture, the interface, the simple interface of our software, and also how to model in 2D and 3D modeling. Then you will also know how to synchronize those models with other BIM tools that we have. And also at the end, you will be able to view them in VR and AR systems and also in 3D technology. So before we start with this webinar, if anyone has any questions, please write them in the text chat, or you can send me an email directly. You will find my email in the chat box. Before we start, Afanzo, if there is anything you want to add, please go ahead.
Perfect. Thank you, Ahmed. Yeah, I think this is a quite nice moment because during this week, we are launching a new update of our software. So when we planned this event, the new features that we are publishing this week were not included in this agenda. So I will try to add some of these new features if we have time also to show these new options because they are quite interesting too. So this is going to be like a bonus in our seminar today. Okay. So CYPE Architecture, our main software for 3D modeling, for 3D architectural modeling. Okay. It's a free software, and we'll try to see exactly what the title says. Everything you need to know to start working BIM in some minutes, because when you finish this webinar, then you can download the software and start working in this kind of workflow in BIM. Okay. Ahmed, let me confirm if you can see my screen, just to be sure that it's everything okay here.
Yes, everything is clear here.
And perfect. So before we start, let's turn off our cameras. Then we have more space on screen, and then we can start from here. Okay.
Sure.
All right, so for this webinar, we have selected some highlights, okay, some main points that we wanna use to explain what is CYPE architecture, what you could do with CYPE architecture, okay. So we'll start explaining a little bit, having an overview about the application. Then we'll see how we can download the program. We'll see three ways to start modeling. Okay, three options. There are three different techniques of modeling that we can apply when we create our BIM model with CYPE architecture. We'll see a little bit more information about types, textures, levels. Then we'll see how to introduce furniture and user objects, and also some other possibilities to extend the program, combining CYPE architecture with other CYPE tools using the BIMserver.center platform. Okay, so I'll try to follow these steps. Okay, so let's begin with that. So CYPE architecture is our 3D modeler. I have here some examples just to show an overview about the software. Okay, this modeler, the result that we'll have when we use CYPE architecture is an IFC file. Okay, an IFC file that is the beginning of a project. Okay, so the first step of a project of an openbim project is the architectural model, and this model can be used for different purposes, since the analysis of the structure of this building to the bill of quantities. Also, we can use it to run energy and acoustic analysis. We can use it to design the different plumbing and electrical facilities, HVAC facilities too. So this is the first step that we can have in our project, and we can use CYPE architecture for that purpose. Okay, as you can see, the interface is quite simple. Here in the right side we have this this work area where you can use the area to develop your model. Okay, you can orbit, you can pen your model. You can also use some tools that we have here to create sections to see inside of the building. Okay, so with these arrows here, we can cut, we can create these sections here. We can also combine these sections, horizontal and vertical at the same time. Okay, so with these options that we have here, it's easier to inspect, to know what is happening inside of the building. Okay, if we deactivate here, we can have also some layers. Okay, we can create layers in this right side here. So for example, I've created some layers to the walls, I've created some layers to the slabs, some layers to the water equipment and for furniture. I've created here a specific layer to the pool, maybe here somewhere to the different architectural elements that we have here: windows, stairs, also here the roof. Okay, so here you can create your own layers and then assign the different elements of your project according to the needs of the modeling process to these layers, and then activate and deactivate these layers according to the moment of the project. Okay, of course, in the end, when we have everything finished, the idea is to activate everything, to then use the options that we have here to share this project, to generate this IFC file, and then share it with someone that will be working with us in the same workflow. Okay, so this layers is a quite simple system, but it's very useful. Okay, just showing here that inside of a layer, you can have different elements. Okay, so according to the IFC categories of the elements that were modeled, so you can also then activate and deactivate the elements inside of a layer. For example, in the stairs layer that I've created, I have here actually not just the stair itself, but also the railings, the staircase, and the landings that are part of this layer. Okay. Another interesting feature that we have here at CYPE Architecture in this sidebar is the option to create views. Okay, so here we are working in a 3D environment. Okay, we can use these little buttons just to see the model from a specific perspective. That could be it's actually an angle that we automatically set the model. Okay, but we can create these views that we have here. There are views that we can create it to have it here, freeze it, save it. Okay, so these views can be used, for example, to see the model in a different angle, but we can save these views, we can save this this list of views and use it for different purposes. Okay, for example, here I've created some views to the elevations: west, south, north, east, and also some floor plans like the terrain, the upper floor, the roof in different levels. Okay, but actually these views, they are the 3D model that is cutted. Here we can see the 3D where this model was cutted, and here we can see these views. They are saved and available here. Okay, to create a view, it's quite simple. Let me show you one example. For example, if you go to the 3D view, use, for example, this angle here. Let me create a new view. So I use this little button here to create the view. And here we can create floor plans, reflected ceiling views, elevations, sections, generic and 3D views. Okay, so let's create, for example, a section. Okay, so I'll select section, accept. I will draw the section. For example, let's imagine in this part I would like to create a section. If I use this little button here, the orthogonality, I will be sure that the line is correct. Then I select the direction of this view, to this side, or for example to this side. Okay, when I accept, I must add a name, section 1, for example. Okay, and if I accept, I will have here in the list of views a new section, in this case. Okay, a section that is called section 1. you see that my model now it's just a part of it. If we orbit here, the section is saved here. Okay, I can look for a nice perspective like this one, for example, and then I can save the start scene always in this position. Okay, so I can update this start scene, and now I have a section of my model, for example. Okay, so these view options and also these layers, they are available every time. We can use it, combine these tools with the modeling tools that we have here in the upper part of the software. Okay, so the idea here is constantly change from one view to another, activating the deactivate layers to then have a easy process when we are modeling the building. Okay, so talking a little bit about the tools that we have. Actually, CYPE Architecture have 3 tabs. We have here the Sketch tab, the Architecture tab, and the Furniture tab. Okay, so 3 moments of the project that we can alternate from these tabs constantly, changing parts of the sketch, then adding architectural elements, then adding furniture, then coming back to the architectural elements, changing. We can change a lot between the tabs. Okay, just telling a little bit what we have here, is explaining a little bit what we have here. So in the Sketch tab, we can create reference lines, we can create drawings, we can create volumes, we can create surfaces using these tools that we have here. Okay, different tools to draw something. We can also change the color of these elements. We can create objects here. We can edit everything that was created with these tools using the edit tools that we have in this area. Okay. In the Architecture tab, we don't have drawing elements. Actually, here what we have is building elements. Okay, so here we are talking about vertical elements, horizontal elements, openings, connections. Okay, so here we are not talking about lines or surfaces as we saw here. Here we are talking about building elements. Okay, for example, inside of the vertical elements option, we have here the walls, we have here the curtain wall, we have the louvre, we have here the railings, the columns. Besides that, in the horizontal elements, we have here the floor slabs, suspended ceilings. Here we have roof tiles. Okay, in the openings, we have here opening itself, doors, windows, skylights. Okay, so different tools that we have here to then create the building elements of our building. Okay, in the Furniture tab, we have the same situation, but here we have a nice library of furniture, home appliances, sanitary appliances, some elements for the garden, for example. Okay, some elements that we just have to select from the library and put it on the model. And we have options here also to download furniture, sanitary appliances, and home appliances from catalogs from different manufacturers. Okay, to use this option, we must connect. We must be connected with internet. Okay, so we can open here and download more objects, or we can also create here our own objects, importing it from our computer using importing, for example, IFC files and different other formats that we can import from other that we can download, for example, from the internet. Okay, so you can import it and then use it in your project. Okay. All right, so as you saw, we have here Sketch and Architecture, but what is the difference here? Why we have these options here, both tabs here? The idea here is you can use the drawing options to create simple drawings that can be used in the beginning of the project when you are thinking about the spaces, when you are designing the building. Okay, but without knowing the final materials that you have been using in your project. So you can use these tools to create the first sketch actually of the project, and then when you go to the Architecture tab, you can transform the sketch into architecture. Okay, so you can click in a line, for example, that you've created here and transform it in a column, in a bin, or you can click on a surface that was created here and transform it in a vertical element like a wall or a curtain wall. Okay, so there are tools that connect the options that we have in the Sketch tab and the options that we have in the Architecture tab. Okay, let's see some examples about that. Okay, so we'll try to cover here the points that we have here. So what is CYPE Architecture? I have been showing a little bit what is that. Let me show you how to download, then we'll start modeling, and we'll see 3 options to see how it works and how we can combine the tools that we saw before. Okay, to download CYPE Architecture is quite easy. Okay, so the software is for free, so you just have to come to our website. For example, let me open in another tab here. So in the Solutions tab for professionals, you can go to the Architecture category. Okay, and here in the Architecture category, you have the CYPE Architecture more information button. And from here you have the download button. Okay, actually CYPE Architecture is a software that is connected to the BIMserver.center platform. That is our common data environment. And here you can find more softwares developed by CYPE, not just CYPE Architecture. And from here you can download the software for free. Okay, so using this little button that is here, the download. Okay, so very easy to download. It's a very it's not a big file. Okay, like it's very easy to install. Okay, just go to our website, Solutions for Professionals, and look for the Architecture category of tools. Okay, all right, let's follow our script here. How to start modeling. Okay, so we have 3 options to model something at CYPE Architecture. Let's see these examples now. Okay, so I have here a new file. Okay, this file is totally empty. Just to show you the difference, here you can see that I don't have my layers. I don't have here, I have just some default views. Okay, but I could create more, and I don't have anything here in my work area. Okay, so we'll start creating everything from scratch here. Okay, some things that I think are important to know when we are working here. The first thing that we can activate and deactivate this grid that we have here. So this grid is actually a reference that we have to then to create our models. It's like the terrain, for example, or a base of our project here. This grid can be activated in this button. Okay, we can also change here using this button some settings like the background color, the font size. We can change also the units that we are using, so don't worry about these details. You can change here the units for for feet, for inches, for millimeters, for centimeters, for all the parameters according to the way that you design in your country. Okay, using this little button here, you can change from the international system unit to the IP system. Okay, so you can change these parameters here, and you can also save this these default settings as default settings. Okay, so once you define the first time, you just click here and it will be saved, and every time you open the software again, the units will be already in the way that you want. Okay, all right, to start modeling, I will model in 3D. I think it's easier to understand, but you can also set one of these angles here and model in 2D. Okay, you have both choices. And as I said, there are 3 options to model something here at CYPE Architecture. I will use the first one, that is going directly to the Architecture tab. Okay, and start creating elements. Okay, very easy. So I'll create here some walls, for example. Okay, when I open the wall window, I can define a reference. Okay, and I can select how the wall will be introduced. So I can introduce a wall by polyline, by points, by surface area, or using a sketch line. We'll see all of these options during this presentation. Okay, so I'll start with this option here, that is by polyline. In this option, I just have to define the height of the wall, and then select one type of wall that I can create in a library previously. Okay, in this case I have just the wall that we have here by default, but you can create a list of different walls using one option that we have here that we'll see in a while. Okay, so I will use this wall, and then I will start modeling. Okay, so yeah, I'll just get one point here. Okay, and as you can see, I just have to click in a second point, a first point, and then a second point to model this wall. Okay, and when I change the position of my mouse, you can see that I can see the length of this wall and also the angle of this wall. Okay, you can see in a little box in the middle of the wall the length of the wall. Okay, so like 5.83 meters in this case. Of course, we can activate and deactivate the orthogonality here too. So if I do that, I will have this situation in the direction of the red X or in the direction of the green X in this case. Okay, so yeah, doing that, and sometimes we'll have more precision. Okay, and let me deactivate this little button for a while, then we can activate again in a moment. So if I click in a second time here, I start modeling my building very easily. Okay, very easily, just by creating these walls like this. Okay, as you can see, the wall was created very easy. Okay, if we use this little button here, okay, the difference is that when we click the first time and then we click the second time, the software will ask to us if the size of the length of the wall is correct. So in this case, by clicking using these points, the distance was 2.6. So the software asked to us to confirm is really 2.6. No, let's imagine that would 2.5 or 3 meters. So I just changed this value and the software will change according to the number that I introduced it. Okay, so these two help us to enter to enter an element with more precision if we know the dimension in this case. Okay, so I'll delete this guy, just showing you here that here we have some options to edit, to delete, to copy, to move, to create symmetries, to rotate elements. So all the addition of the architectural models, architectural elements are here. Okay, so I will edit this little piece of wall here, and I'll create a new piece just to connect these points. Okay, to do that, there are some snap points, so I can create this, clicking on these snap points. It's easier to start working when we have these snap points. And as you can see, I can also cross the elements. Okay, for example, if I do something like this, no problem. Okay, so then I can create my wall freely. Okay, so just introducing the elements according to the position of the elements and in this case one dimension, that is the height. Okay, each one of these walls can be adjusted. For example, if I click in this wall, I can change the adjustment to, for example, one side like this, okay, or to the other side like this, okay, or even maintain it on the center, and then we have this situation here. Okay, or we have another option, that is solve the intersection of these walls automatically. Okay, so with this little button here, once we finish this step of introducing the walls, we can click here. Okay, and everything will be solved for us. Okay, so then we have the walls created here. Okay, I know that is a very simple example. There is actually no sense here in this building. It's just to show you how it works. We are not trying to create here a great project. Actually, it's just to show the main features that we have here. Okay, let's do the same situation to create a little slab to know how it works. But before we do that, let's start organizing our project. And to organize that, I'll create here two layers. I'll create one layer to the walls, for example. Okay, and another layer that's then will be used to the slabs, for example. Okay, so I've created these walls and slab layers here, and then we also have the default layer that it was already here. Okay, using this little button here, I can assign one of the layers that we have. Oh, sorry, let me grab this out. So for example, I will assign the walls layer, I will assign to everything that I have here now. Okay, By doing that, now I can activate and deactivate the visibility of these walls. Okay, I can also change the transparency of that. Okay, and I can also block it, I can lock it, and then when I lock, I cannot snap the points of this element. Okay, so yeah, here we have the walls. So the active layer now is the default layer, so I will select the slabs layer as the active layer now, because then I will use the horizontal element options to introduce a floor slab, for example, and then I will use the reference points that I have here. For example, let me do something here just a while. Yeah, here I'll take these points to create my little my little slab. Okay, I'll just grab in here some points, okay, according to the points that were created before. And I'm doing it fast, okay, but here I have a little slab, okay, or roof, for example, a flat slab that I can activate and deactivate too. Okay, just showing some features that we have here. This slab, I can also change it. For example, let's imagine I would like to put it a little bit in another position, so I can move it. Okay, so yeah, for example, combining with this tool here, I can move it like I don't know, 40 centimeters, okay, to have something like this. Okay, I can also copy that. Okay, I can copy that and put it somewhere like here, for example. It's, of course, it's not a good position, but then, for example, I can take this slab and put it in the right position. Okay, something like that. Okay, then of course I must change the properties of these slabs. This first slab was created as a slab with 30 centimeters as intermediate floor slab, but probably this is a roof. Okay, and this one, for example, should be, for example, let's edit it. That should be, for example, a screed, for example. Okay, you can see that the adjustment options are available also here to the slabs. Okay, so very easy to create the slabs. Is the same process of creating a wall. Very, very simple. Okay, let's add another layer. Let's create here, for example, a layer to the windows. Okay, or carpentry windows. Okay, windows, it's okay. Or windows, doors and windows. Let's change it. Doors and windows. Okay, and then we can use these options here to add a door. For example, to add a door, we just have to select the door. We can also create the doors in our library, changing all the parameters. Okay, so we'll see in a while how to change it. Okay, and then select a wall. And there are some properties of the door in this case that we must know. So how is the aperture? We can select here different options, inside, outside. Okay, and then how this door, it's what's the position of the door in the model. Okay, so very simple to introduce a door, sorry. A window is quite similar. Here we can define a height above the ground. Okay, so maybe this is too much. Let's put it a little bit less, and then select here. Again, just define how the window is introduced. Let's put another one here, for example. Okay, very simple to create. Okay, here we have the views as we saw before. Let's close some windows that we have here floating in our screen. For example, we have here the ground floor that was created before. So here we can see inside of the building. So now it's easy to then go and add, for example, some furniture here. I don't know, some chairs that we can put here, or even some, I don't know, some tables. Okay, very simple to introduce these elements here. Okay, I know this building, it's not good. Okay, it's just a very fast example. Considering the time that we have, I think it's pretty good to the time that we have. But this is the first way to create a model. You saw, it's very simple. Just go to the architecture tab and start creating your building elements directly from here. Okay, let me show you a second option. To do that, I will move everything here, for example, to the side, like here, like 15 meters to the side. okay? And let's do the second option. As we saw, we have 3 options to create. The second option is quite similar to this one, but we will use as a reference a CAD file, a DWG file, okay? So to do that, we have some options here. We want to load these CAD files to CYPE Architecture. So I will go to this library of DWG templates, and I will select in my computer a DWG file, okay? So I will import that. Here I have a DWG file with different layers. I can activate and deactivate the layers here. Imagine that you have too many information in your DWG file or a lot of hatches. So here you can control the layers that you want to see to have to work better with less information, for example. So yeah, here I have the DWG file that I want in my library, okay? And now I can go here to the 3D view, or it works actually with all the views, and with the right button of the mouse, edit the view, and using this option here, activate the DWG file, okay? So I can activate it here. Oh, sorry, I must uncheck this option here. And here I have the DWG file. Unfortunately, in this case, the DWG file have white lines, and here I have the white background, so I cannot see the lines here. So then I can use the option to change the background color of our software to black, and then I can see this file a little bit better, okay? So yeah, here you can alternate that. With this DWG file, it's going to be easier in this case to transform a CAD file to a BIM model, okay? So for example, in this case, I will create my walls again, okay? I will use the adjustment using one of these options here, okay? I'll set the adjustment, and activating the snap, the template object snaps that we have here, I can select which kind of points I would like to snap, okay? So for example, I will use the end point, the midpoint, and the nearest option, and then I can get these points as references, okay? So and then start modeling, easily start modeling the building, getting these points as reference, okay? As you can see, I can easily introduce my walls according to the CAD file, okay? Let's get also this point here, for example, and let's finish it here, okay? Easily you can get these points from your CAD files. For example, from here to then finish it, okay? Of course, then you must change if this is an internal wall, if it's an external facade, if it's a party wall, if it's a basement wall. You must then add more information to this model. But the idea here is to show you how you can easily create your model, transforming the CAD file that you have into an IFC in this case. Okay, so the process here, it's similar to the first one, but we are using as a reference a CAD file. Okay, some interesting thing about these templates that we have here. You saw that we have the different snap options here. Okay, we can also manage. We can have here a list of DWG files imported, but we can also import not just DWGs, but also DXFs and also images like JPGs, PNGs, to use it as reference. Okay, these files, when we import, we can also edit the scale, the position, rotate these files. Imagine that we can imagine that in sometimes the scale is different from the scale that we are working. Okay, so here there are options to manage the DWG files and then use it to model the project. Okay, let me change back to the background in white color. I think it's a little bit better. Okay, so now from this model, now you can do the same. Add the doors, the windows, the roofs. Okay, you can add the furniture. It's the same process of modeling. Okay, so this is the second option. And let's do the third option. The third option is going to be combining the sketch and the architecture tab. Okay, To do that, I will start here in the Sketch tab. Okay, I'll use the lines here. For example, let's imagine I put here some lines. I can also use the tools that we have here to orthogonality and define the distance before draw this line. So for example, I'll start with a line that is like, I don't know, 6 meters. I'm just creating some aleatory geometry here. 3 meters, 4 meters, yeah, 2 meters, and let's close here. When I create these lines, if the polygon it's closed, we will also create automatically a surface here. Okay, that surface I can delete it or I can maintain it. Okay, I can also create here other options like arcs, circles, quadrilaterals. For example, I'll use this option to create a quadrilateral from this point to this point, for example. You can see that that is very easy to create these quadrilaterals, or from this point to this point. Okay, there are other options like creating a quadrilateral by a diagonal. So by knowing the diagonal, let me deactivate orthogonality. As you can see, the diagonal defines the geometry of this quadrilateral. Okay, to create a circle, it's quite similar. I just have to click here and define the radius of the circle. And to create ellipse is quite similar, but with 2 radius. Okay, sorry, I clicked on circle again, but it's quite similar. Okay, these elements, let me add a circle, for example, somewhere here. Okay, just to have something nice. Okay, these elements, then we can edit it. For example, if I want, I can edit just this part or just this part. And when the surface is deleted, like what happens here, then by creating a line again, one line that we have, the surface will be created again. Okay, so with this option, we can easily define the geometry of the building in a 2D environment, or it's a 3D, but we are creating actually just a projection of the building in this case. Okay, it's a very strange building, I know, but yeah, maybe it's something more artistic. Let's say that. Let me create one more space here, like this. Okay, let's delete this guy. And from this point, we have options to then transform it in 3D. Okay, for example, using this option here, I can extrude these surfaces. Okay, so I can extrude the surfaces doing this movement here with the mouse. Okay, I can also define a constant length of this to this extrusion, for example 3 meters, and then I have here 3 meters. Okay, 3 meters, 3 meters, and 3 meters, and easily I transformed my model that was 2D in 3D. Okay, just to show you some possibilities that we have here. Now I will copy these elements. Okay, I'll have a copy here. That's gonna be somewhere here. Okay, and let's delete some parts of one of these elements. I will delete everything that is in the upper part of one of these sketches that we've created. So here we have a 3D sketch, and here we have a 2D sketch, just to show you some possibilities that we have here. Okay, let's imagine this is the geometry of our building. Okay, then let's transform it into a BIM model. Let's add architectural elements to this geometry. Okay, so let's jump from sketch to architecture, and let's select the wall, for example. Okay, to create the wall, I'll activate the layer walls, and then instead of using the polyline introduction mode, I will use the surface area by surface area mode. And with that, I can click on the elements of this sketch, the object that we've created before. Okay, and use the geometry of this sketch as reference to create the IFC file or the BIM model. Okay, actually with this little button that is somewhere here, let me open it. Where is that? Let's open a little bit more here. This little button here, you can click on that to show or hide the sketch. So here you can see what is the sketch and what is the architectural elements. Okay, and we can also select different elements together to transform it on architectural elements. So for example, like this. Okay, so it's quite easy to transform the sketch into architecture by using this option that is by surface area. Okay, something similar to that. Let me deactivate here the grid to have a cleaner screen. Something similar to that, using also applying that for a wall, is using this option here, that is introduce a wall using a sketch line as reference. Here we also define a height, and then we just click in the lines. Okay, so this, and easily we can create our model. Okay, we can also select different lines like this and add all the walls together. Okay, so that could be very nice when you have a more complex geometry. Is why I've created this circular wall here, just to show you that you can do not just with simple geometries like that, but also with this kind of situation here. Okay, and then of course from this point you can add all the furniture and keep going, adding all the other elements that we have here. Okay, so these are the three ways that we have here to model something at CYPE Architecture. Okay, remembering that all the elements that we have here, they have more than one option to introduce elements. For example, a curtain wall could be by points, by surface area, using sketch line as we made with a wall, but also defining a segment and a height. When we define a railing could be by points or using a sketch line. Here in the horizontal elements, we saw the slabs. The slabs, they can also be defined by points or by surface area. The suspended ceilings, they also can be introduced by points, surface area, and outlines on a plan. So we have different ways to create the model, and you can choose the best way according to the way that you usually do. Okay, freely, based on a DWG file, or using the sketch options that we have here at CYPE Architecture. Okay, yeah, so this is the basics. Let's say this is the basics of the modeling here at CYPE Architecture. Let's come back to our script. Let's see what we have here. So yeah, we know how to start modeling, but now let's talk a little bit about types, textures, levels. What are those concepts? Let's see what we have here at CYPE Architecture. To do that, I'll come back to this model that we have here. And let me show you here a little bit how I've created the different walls that I have here. For example, I have one wall that is gray, another one that is it is white. I have this one that we have a texture of some bricks here. You can see that the slabs, they also were created with different textures and characteristics. So this was created here in this little button, the types. This is our library of elements. So in this project, I have 3, 6, 7 different type of walls, and each wall have different characters here. For example, this one I've called external wall, 20 centimeters. So it's the category external facade with a thickness, with some colors that is different from, for example, the fireplace wall that was created with a different color and a different texture. Okay, or for example, here I've created this one that have one color in one surface and another color in a second surface. Okay, the idea is here you create the types of walls that you have in your project, because then when you start modeling, as we saw before, I can use this little button here to load the properties from these types or these typologies that we've created before, and then assign these properties to the wall that we are modeling, or to the wall, the slab, the building element that we are modeling. Okay, so when we do that, actually we are linking the element that we are creating here to the properties of the element that is in the library. So for example, this one, if I edit now, it's a wall that is called type EW int paint. It's a code here. Okay, so I can go to my, it's with a specific color. I can go to my types now in the walls. it's gonna be probably this one. I think it was maybe this one. So if I change, for example, one of the colors, I don't know, I'll put green here, okay, and accept all the elements that we have in the project that were linked, got the properties from the library, will be updated. Okay, so I have this one and this one, for example, that I've changed the property color in this case, and everything in the model was updated. This property was updated. Okay, so we can use these types. Let me just go back and maintain the original color, but using these types or this library of types, it's easier to organize your project. It's then easier to understand what is happening here. And the best part is that when you create these walls, then in second step, if you decide to analyze the structure of this building, or you wanna have your bill of quantities, then you can use these types as references to then you can use it for different purposes, because then you have a more organized project. Okay, you can do the same for columns, to beams, floor slabs. Here you can see I have different types of floor slabs in this project, for suspended ceilings, for tiles, also here to the doors. Look, I have here a lot of types of doors in this project, windows. Okay, and each one of these elements have different properties that can be personalized here. So this type of door, there is the door number 5. It's a sliding door, could be ringe door double left, sliding door double left. Here we can decide the geometry of the door, if we have glazed opening or not, if we have handle or not, the type of handle, and also the colors of this door. Okay, these properties, they are of course different from the properties, for example, of a suspended ceiling, that are totally different. Here in the suspended ceiling, we have here the size of the panels, okay, the color, if it's a continuous or accessible suspended ceiling, different properties because it's a suspended ceiling, different from a door, and so on. Here we have the connections, the staircases, curved ramp spans, landings, elevators. Okay, here we can decide how these models, they will be which parameters will be set to each model, to each type, and then we can use these types in our model. Okay, as you saw, the colors, they are selected in the types here. Okay, so when we decide, we create here, we can select colors, but we must create these colors somewhere. So here in the architecture tab, we have a specific section to manage the colors that we'll have in our project. By clicking here, we can open this tool, and here we can create colors. For example, I could create my color 1. Okay, and here I can decide which is this color by selecting here in this field, or adding here the RGB, for example, to this color. Okay, it's nice that if we want, we can associate to each color also a texture. Okay, let's imagine this is a grass, for example. So I'll change the name for grass. I will maintain the color as this solid green, but also with a texture of a grass. So I'll select here in my list of textures a grass, for example, this one or this one, and then I can also change the opacity of this texture, this color. Okay, there are some manufacturers also available here, so you can also click here and link to the catalog of different manufacturers with different textures that you can download to use in our software. Okay, once you create the color, then you can come back to the types and, for example, change the property of one specific element, selecting from that colors. So the grass that we've created here, it's available in the list. Okay, now it's available in the list. So I will change the top surface of this element to grass, to then represent it as the terrain of our building. Okay, so probably is that element that is there. Let's wait it until it updates. So yeah, here we can see that the grass was updated here in this element. Okay, so it's very easy to work. You have a library of colors, and then you use the colors in the types or in the building elements of your project. Okay. Another thing that is important here when we work with a BIM model, it's the levels. Okay, so this building have some levels. Let's see the levels that we have here. Sorry about these names here. Let's change the name. For example, here you have the terrain, the upper floor. Okay, each level in a different elevation. The roof, I'll call the roof part 1, and then the roof part 2. Okay, so each level was created in a different elevation, and it's important to create these levels because then we can use these levels to, for example, let's imagine we are we wanna design the structure. At CYPE, that is our software for structural analysis, each level will be imported into CYPE, and then we'll define the loads and the different structural elements for each floor at CYPE. Or for example, we can create different plan views that are related to the floors that we created. Okay, by clicking on this button, we can activate here. We can have here the numbers. Actually, let me delete some of them because some of them are duplicated here. This one, for example, let's come back here to 3D. So here we have the terrain, the upper floor, the roof one. So we can create these levels. Okay, so here we can manage the levels. Okay, we can create new levels from here. There are different ways to create the levels. We can just create the level by adding a new element here in the list, defining the elevation, or we can create by clicking somewhere. For example, I can click in this point and say that this is a level called my new level. Okay, my new level. I can click here. Actually, I already have one here, so the software tells us. Let me click here. Oh, sorry, here I also have here, for example. Must be somewhere that is we don't have a level. Somewhere like here. Probably because here, let me change something here. Yes, for example, I will take this point. Okay, and then in my list of levels now, I have here my new level with the point that was clicked, the point that was selected from the model. Okay, so very easy to create levels here at CYPE Architecture 2. Okay. All right, so let's come back here to another example just to show you how it was created. Look here that the layers were created with different codes in this case. Okay, there are some spaces here. Let me show you. So if I unselect everything here, there is somewhere here specific for the spaces. These spaces, they can be created using the architecture tab, these options that we have here. Okay, so we have the kitchen, the garage, some bedrooms, the bathrooms, all the spaces of our model were created here. And when we define these spaces, we can do also a lot of things. It's useful for bill of quantities. If we want to run an energy analysis or an acoustic analysis, then we must generate an analytical model, and the analytical model will get the information from these spaces. Okay, so here you can manage the spaces using these options that we have here. Okay. All right, so let's come back here to the highlights of this presentation, our script. We already know about types, textures, levels. We saw how to introduce furniture. Actually, we saw how to do it in the beginning. And just to finish that and finish this presentation, let me show you how you can combine CYPE Architecture with more tools that we have in our ecosystem. So by clicking here, you can export the IFC file to our platform, to BIMserver.center, and then share it with someone, with a colleague, or even use this model in a second software. And here we have a lot of options by clicking here to then use other tools that we have in our ecosystem to, for example, extract the drawings of your model. For example, create the plans, the sheets, all the graphical documentation of your model can be extracted using this button here. Using this button, you actually run another software that is called openbim layout, that is also for free. Okay, here you can also, for example, connect with CYPE to then run the structural analysis. You can connect with openbim quantities to generate the bill of quantities. You can define the electrical mechanisms to then analyze, to design the electrical installation. There are different options that are available here, just clicking on these buttons here. Okay, let me show you here in our website these options here. In our website, you can also download these softwares. Just going to the solutions menu for professionals and navigating in the different categories that we have here. So we have been looking here, we have been talking about CYPE architecture that is here, but here you can also find more tools to design the terrain, to develop a model with the context of your building. Okay, here you can also find a software to describe the building elements with acoustic and thermal properties. Here you can also find openbim model checker, that is a software to run clash detection analysis. Here you can find openbim layout, that is the software that we have been talking before, and also openbim quantities. Okay, so for each software you can download it. Some of them are for free, some of them are paid. Okay, but I'm sure that you can contact one of my colleagues that are managing the chat in below and ask for a good price in those softwares that are paid. Okay.
All right, I hope the presentation of today was interesting for you. I think we can finish here. We are almost in the time that we have for today. Ahmed, I don't know if you have any comments. Let's turn on our cameras here again to conclude this presentation. If you wanna have any comments, we have some minutes yet.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Afonso, for joining us. For those who have any question about today webinar, they can send the questions to my email directly, or they can write them in the chat box. We will try to get to you back with answers shortly. Thank you again, and we hope like you enjoy the webinar, and wishing you like a great practice ahead. And if there is anything again, we always here for you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ahmed. See you again in a next opportunity.
See you next webinar.